For 10 years, no one knew what happened to Major Rebecca Carter. The official report said missing during assignment, but documents that surfaced in 2023 told a different story. Classified military experiments, isolated personnel, and the facility completely cut off from the outside world. Rebecca had entered that place, but became a prisoner of the system. Before we begin this investigation, let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because today's story is one of the US Air Force's best kept secrets. Rebecca Carter was 32 years old in 2013 and one of the United States Air Force's brightest pilot officers. With a 10-year career and over 2,400 flight hours, she was one of the first female pilots authorized to fly the F-22 Raptor. Rebecca's physical appearance was that of a typical fighter pilot. Standing 5'7" with an athletic build, her red hair was always kept in the regulation bun. Her green eyes were sharp and focused. Sunburn marks on her face showed years spent behind cockpit glass. For her family, Rebecca was a successful sister and beloved aunt. She had never married, choosing to focus on her career. Her mother Linda and father James, a retired Marine colonel, were proud of Rebecca's achievements. Her younger sister Jennifer idolized her. Rebecca's specialty was classified air operations and test piloting. She tested the newest military aircraft technology, evaluating performance under extreme conditions. She also had an engineering degree from MIT in aeronautical engineering. This experience and education made her the perfect candidate for the June 7, 2013 transfer assignment. None of them could have predicted that this mission would be her last. June 7, 2013 was a hot Friday morning at Edwards Air Force Base, California. Rebecca received an urgent briefing call from her commander at 6. This was unusual. Typically, major transfers were planned weeks in advance. Colonel Robert Hayes was the operations commander with 20 years of experience. When she entered his office, he greeted Rebecca. "Major Carter, please sit. I'm going to brief you on a critical assignment." "Sir, you're being transferred to a classified test facility. Codename Site 13, New Mexico Desert. Coordinates will be provided. Most advanced prototype aircraft testing conducted there." Rebecca was curious. "Site 13? I've never heard of this facility, sir." "Normal, highest security classification. Above top secret clearance required. You already have clearance, but you'll receive additional briefing." "What type of aircraft testing, sir?" Colonel Hayes hesitated. "Advanced propulsion systems. Everything you need to know will be explained there. You'll depart this afternoon." "Today, sir? For how long?" "Minimum 6 months. Extension possible. Collect personal belongings. Departure 14. Rebecca was surprised. "I need to inform my family, sir." "Limited contact authorized. Monthly scheduled calls. Security reasons. You can only tell your family temporary assignment. Location classified." "Understood, sir." "Major Carter, this is a career-defining opportunity. Most advanced technology. Future of air warfare." Rebecca was excited but also uneasy. Such sudden transfer, such secrecy, it was unusual. But orders were orders. At 14, Rebecca arrived at the designated hangar at Edwards with a small duffel bag. 3 other people were there, other officers being transferred. She didn't recognize any of them. An unmarked military helicopter was waiting. Except for the pilot and co-pilot, no one was talking. Rebecca and the other 3 officers boarded. At 14:15, the helicopter took off over the California desert, heading southeast toward New Mexico. Rebecca looked out the window. Endless desert, mountains, no settlements. After flying for approximately 90 minutes, she couldn't see any landmarks. At 15:45, a facility began appearing in the distance. In the middle of the desert, surrounded by mountains, completely isolated. As it approached, details became clear. High security fence, guard towers, underground structures. The helicopter landed on the facility's landing pad. 16. Rebecca had arrived at Site 13, but she didn't know what she would do or how she could leave this place. When they got off the helicopter, 4 armed security personnel greeted them. Their uniforms weren't standard, Air Force, black tactical gear, no insignia. "Major Carter, Welcome. Please come with me. The security chief didn't give his name. Rebecca and the other 3 officers, Captain Daniel Martinez, Lieutenant Amy Chen, Captain Mark Williams, were directed to the main facility building. The facility was surprisingly large. From the outside, it looked like just a small complex, but most of the structures were underground. They entered an elevator and descended 5 floors. The underground level was a very extensive complex. Corridors, offices, laboratories, living areas. Like a small underground city, they were taken to a briefing room. A man was waiting there, Dr. Marcus Sullivan, in his 50 seconds wearing civilian clothes. Welcome. I'm Dr. Sullivan, Site 13 Project Director. First, everything you see here is above top secret classified. No information leaves this facility. The screen showed Site 13's blueprints, massive underground facility, multiple levels, hangar spaces, research labs. Site 13 was designed for experimental aerospace technology development. You will be testing the latest advanced propulsion systems. Rebecca asked, Dr. Sullivan, what type of propulsion systems? Mach 10 plus capable vehicles, scramjet propulsion, stealth characteristics, classified projects. Martinez asked technically, test flight protocols. Simulation based initially, actual flight tests later, extensive training first. Chen asked about logistics, living arrangements, communication with outside, comfortable quarters provided, monthly scheduled calls authorized, 15-minute limit, monitored conversations. Williams was concerned. How long will we be here? Minimum 6 months. Extension based on project needs. Rebecca felt uncomfortable. What if we want to leave early? Dr. Sullivan's expression changed. Major, this isn't a voluntary assignment. Orders. Duration determined by command. Rebecca realized this wasn't a normal transfer. It was a type of isolation. Security protocols will now be explained. The security chief continued. Quarters on level 4. All personnel monitored. No unauthorized movement. All areas require clearance. Communication devices surrendered. Rebecca's phone and smartwatch were collected. The others too. Welcome to Site 13, your new home. Rebecca understood this place resembled a prison, luxurious but still a prison. The first week at Site 13 was orientation. Rebecca and the other officers toured the facility, met staff, received preliminary security clearance briefings. The facility was very large. 7 underground levels, each level for different functions. Level 1, administration and security. Level 2, research laboratories. Level 3, simulation facilities. Level 4, living quarters and recreation. Levels 5 to 7, classified sections, limited access. Rebecca's quarters were on level 4, a small but comfortable apartment, bedroom, bathroom, small living area, television but limited channels, only educational and entertainment content, no news. She began spending time with the other officers. Martinez had a simulator engineer background. Chen was an avionics specialist. Williams a test pilot. All different skill sets but the same confused feelings. This place is strange, Rodriguez said one dinner. Why so isolated? Why is communication so restricted? Martinez was pragmatic. Security. Propulsion technology is very sensitive. Can't leak to enemy intelligence. Williams was paranoid. Or something else is happening here. Rebecca was diplomatic. Let's follow orders, do the job and get out. But Rebecca also felt uncomfortable. The facility's atmosphere was oppressive. Constant surveillance, limited freedom, and worst of all, almost zero contact with the outside world. When the monthly call authorization came, Rebecca called her mother. 15 minutes, monitor line. Mom, I'm fine. At my new assignment. Rebecca, where are you? Classified location, I can't say, but I'm safe. When can we see you? At least 6 months, maybe longer. That's so long, Rebecca. I know, Mom, but it's an important assignment, good for my career. The monitor beeped, time limit approaching. I love you, Mom. We'll talk soon. I love you, sweetheart. Call ended. Rebecca felt lonely. 15 minutes, once a month. connection with her family was that limited. As weeks passed, a routine formed. Morning simulator training, afternoon technical briefings, evening physical fitness, monotonous but structured. Rebecca began to notice some staff members at the facility were never visible. Only specific personnel had access to levels 5 to 7. And some nights, there were strange sounds, machinery, alarms, running footsteps. "Do you hear it too?" Chen asked one night. "Yes," said Rebecca, "like something's happening below." Martinez was rational. Research facility. Night work is normal. But Rebecca instinctively knew there were things happening here they didn't know about. And they were just surface level personnel. The real classified work was on the deeper levels. After 3 months, Rebecca had grown accustomed to the routine, but it wasn't adaptation, it was resignation. Site 13 felt like a prison, no matter how comfortable. One day after simulator training, Rebecca accidentally entered the wrong corridor, the stairwell leading to level 5. Normally restricted, but the door had been left unlocked. She was curious. She knew the rules but made an impulsive decision. Quick look. The stairwell descended. At the level 5 entrance was a heavy security door. Surprisingly, it was ajar. She looked inside. A long corridor. Fluorescent lights. Very quiet. No one else around. She took a few steps forward. Along the corridor were doors, each with plaques. Lab 5A, Lab 5B, Observation 5C. One door was partially open. Faint voices from inside. Rebecca approached, listening carefully. 2 researchers were talking. Test subjects aren't responding. May need to increase dosage. What does Dr. Sullivan say? Says continue. Human trials moving to phase 3. Rebecca's heart raced. Human trials? For what? Footsteps approached. Rebecca panicked, turned, and ran back to the stairwell. Had a security guard seen her? She wasn't sure. She returned to her quarters, shaken. What she heard was disturbing. Human trials, test subjects. This wasn't related to aircraft testing. She couldn't sleep that night. The next day, she subtly asked Chen, "Ever wonder what's happening on level 5? Chen was cautious. "Things we don't need to know. Better if we don't." "But if..." "Rebecca, stop. Here's advice. Don't ask, don't investigate, follow orders. That's survival." Rebecca understood. The others were uncomfortable too, but had chosen to stay quiet. But Rebecca was different. Pilot instincts. Assess risk. Understand environment. She began making more observations. Studied facility personnel. Noticed patterns. Some staff members never came to dining areas. Level 5 to 7 access personnel used separate entrances. At night, certain times had unusual activity. Transport vehicles, equipment movement, and most disturbing, some personnel disappeared. Visible for a week, then gone. "Where's Martinez?" Rebecca asked one day. "Transferred," facility administration said. "Where?" "Classified." But no one had seen Martinez during transfer. No helicopter had come. Just gone. Rebecca became more paranoid. This place wasn't just a test facility. This was a type of containment. And the personnel, they were also contained. After 6 months, Rebecca's initial assignment period should have ended. But there was an extension due to project requirements. "How long is the extension?" she asked. "Indefinite. To be determined later." Rebecca protested. This wasn't the original agreement. "Circumstances have changed, Major. Show flexibility." Rebecca realized they weren't going to let personnel leave easily. She began asking more questions, observing more closely. Other officers noticed her behavior. "Rebecca, you're asking too many questions," Williams warned. "That's dangerous here. Don't you want to know what's really happening?" "I want to survive and eventually get out, that's all." But Rebecca couldn't stop. Her nature demanded answers. One night, she decided to investigate level 5 again. This time, more carefully, more prepared. At 2, when most personnel were asleep, she used a maintenance access she discovered, descended to level 5. The corridor was empty. She moved quietly, checking each door. Lab 5C was unlocked. She looked inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. Medical beds with restraints, IV equipment, monitoring devices, and on the walls, charts showing human physiological data, brain activity patterns, chemical compounds. This wasn't aircraft testing. This was human experimentation. Rebecca took mental notes, memorizing everything she could see. Then she heard voices approaching. She quickly left the lab, found the supply closet to hide in. 2 researchers passed, talking. Phase 3 subjects, showing cognitive enhancement. But side effects are severe. Memory loss, personality changes. Dr. Sullivan says acceptable trade-off for performance gains. Rebecca waited until they passed, then carefully made her way back to her quarters. She now knew the truth. Site 13 wasn't about aircraft. It was about enhancing human capabilities through experimental drugs and procedures, and she and the other officers were potential test subjects. In the 7th month, things changed dramatically. Lieutenant Chen disappeared overnight. "Where's Chen?" Rebecca asked at breakfast. "Medical transfer," they were told. "Health issues." But Rebecca had seen Chen the day before, perfectly healthy. 2 weeks later, Captain Williams also disappeared. Same explanation. Medical transfer. Rebecca confronted facility administration. "I want to speak with Chen and Williams." "That's not possible. They're at different facilities." "I want phone contact." Denied. Security protocols. Rebecca realized they were taking people systematically. She confided in Martinez. "We're in danger. They're taking people for experiments." Martinez was scared. "What can we do? We're trapped here. We document everything. If we ever get out, we need evidence." Rebecca began keeping a hidden journal, writing down everything she observed, everyone who disappeared, all the suspicious activities. She also began subtly asking guards and staff questions, trying to gauge who might be sympathetic. One guard, Sergeant Tim Morrison, seemed different, more human, less robotic than the others. Rebecca took a calculated risk. "Sergeant Morrison, how long have you worked here?" 3 years, ma'am." "Ever wonder about what really happens on levels 5 to 7? Morrison looked uncomfortable. "That's above my clearance, ma'am." "But you've noticed things, people disappearing, strange activities at night." Morrison looked around nervously. "Ma'am, I can't discuss this. I'm not asking you to violate orders. I'm just trying to understand." Morrison hesitated, then whispered, "Ma'am, my advice. Don't ask questions. Don't investigate. Serve your time and hope they let you leave." "Has anyone ever left?" Morrison's silence was answer enough. Rebecca knew then, Site 13 was a black site. People who came here didn't leave. She had to find a way out. After 10 months, Rebecca was one of the few original transferees remaining. Martinez was still there, but nervous and withdrawn. Rebecca had continued her secret observations, documenting everything in her hidden journal. She had also been studying the facility's security systems, looking for weaknesses. The facility had multiple security layers, asterisk biometric access controls, asterisk 24-hour surveillance, asterisk armed guards at all exits, asterisk remote desert location, asterisk no vehicles accessible to regular personnel. Escaping seemed impossible, but Rebecca was a pilot, trained to think strategically, plan under pressure. She identified one potential vulnerability. Supply deliveries happened weekly. Trucks came through the main security gate, were inspected, then proceeded to underground loading docks. During loading, divided by unloading, security was focused on the cargo, not potential stowaways. Rebecca began planning. She would need asterisk timing, no exact delivery schedule, asterisk distraction, something to pull guards' attention, asterisk cover, way to hide in truck, asterisk survival, supplies for desert survival after escaping facility. She subtly gathered information from staff, pieced together delivery patterns. Thursdays, 14, weekly supply delivery. She began stockpiling small items, water bottles from the dining hall, energy bars, a compass she'd taken from a storage room. She also cultivated her relationship with Sergeant Morrison, gradually gaining his trust. One day, she took the final risk. Sergeant Morrison, I need help. Ma'am, I can't. Just listen. I know what's happening here. Human experiments. People disappearing. I need to get out and expose this. Morrison was silent for a long moment. Ma'am, even if I wanted to help, I can't. The consequences. I'm not asking you to help me escape. Just, if something happens, don't immediately sound the alarm. Give me 30 minutes. Morrison looked conflicted. Ma'am, I'm going to try, with or without your help. But 30 minutes could mean the difference between exposure and cover-up. Morrison finally nodded slightly. I can't promise anything, but I'll be on break Thursday afternoon. That was all Rebecca needed. Thursday, June 6, 2014. 1 year since she'd arrived at Site 13. She would either escape or die trying. The truck drove for approximately 45 minutes. Rebecca, hidden in the cargo area, tried to estimate their location and direction. Eventually, the truck slowed, then stopped. She heard the driver's door open, footsteps walking away. Rest stop? Delivery destination? She carefully pulled back the tarp, looked around. The truck was parked at what appeared to be a small truck stop. The driver had gone inside, probably for coffee or bathroom break. This was her chance. Rebecca quickly climbed out of the truck, staying low. She was wearing her flight suit, not ideal for blending in, but she had no choice. She saw a sign, Welcome to Socorro, New Mexico. She was about 80 miles from Site 13, if her mental calculations were correct. She walked quickly away from the truck stop, heading toward what looked like a residential area. She needed to find help, contact authorities, expose Site 13, but she also knew they would be looking for her. Site 13 security would realize she was gone soon. She found a payphone, rare in 2014, but this small town still had one. She called her sister, Jennifer. Collect call. Hello? Jen? It's Rebecca. Rebecca? Oh my God, where have you been? We've been so worried. I can't explain now. Listen carefully. I need you to contact the Inspector General's office at the Pentagon. Tell them Major Rebecca Carter has escaped from an illegal detention facility called Site 13 Inches, New Mexico. Tell them to investigate immediately. Rebecca, what are you talking about? What facility? Just do it, Jen, please. And tell Mom and Dad I'm okay. I love you all. She hung up before Jennifer could ask more questions. Next, she needed to get to a safe location. Somewhere public, where Site 13 couldn't quietly take her back. She saw a police station across the street. Perfect. She walked in. The desk sergeant looked surprised to see a woman in a flight suit. Ma'am, can I help you? I'm Major Rebecca Carter, United States Air Force. I need to report an illegal detention and human experimentation at a classified military facility. The sergeant looked skeptical. Ma'am, are you feeling all right? I know how this sounds, but please, contact the nearest Air Force Office of Special Investigations. They'll verify my identity. And keep me here. Don't let anyone take me until OSI arrives. The sergeant, still skeptical but sensing Rebecca's sincerity, made the call. Within 2 hours, OSI agents arrived. They verified Rebecca's identity, listened to her account, but their response was not what she expected. The OSI agents listened to Rebecca's story with professional neutrality. Then they made calls to higher authorities. 6 hours later, different officials arrived. Not OSI, not regular Air Force. Men in suits with credentials that indicated very high clearances. Major Carter, we need to have a confidential conversation. They took her to a secure room at the local FBI field office. Major, your account of events at Site 13 involves highly classified programs. You understand you're bound by your security clearances. I understand classification, but human experimentation, illegal detention, those aren't protected by classification. The programs at Site 13 are authorized at the highest levels. All participants sign consent forms. I signed no consent for experimentation. Your transfer orders included language about experimental technology evaluation. That covers the programs. Rebecca realized they were going to cover it up. What about the people who disappeared? Chen, Williams, others? All personnel are accounted for. Some were reassigned due to medical or psychological unsuitability for classified work. I want to speak with them. That's not possible. They're at other classified locations. Rebecca understood she wasn't going to get justice through official channels. Over the next weeks, she was debriefed extensively, signed additional non-disclosure agreements under threat of court-martial, and was told to resume normal duties. She was reassigned to a desk job at the Pentagon, far from any classified programs, essentially sidelined. Her family was relieved to see her but didn't understand what had happened. Rebecca couldn't tell them illegal restrictions. She considered going public, but the threats were clear: court-martial, imprisonment, destruction of her family's reputation. So she stayed silent for 10 years. In 2023, a former Site 13 security contractor named James Morrison, the same Sergeant Morrison who had helped Rebecca, came forward with documents. Morrison had retired from military service and decided his conscience mattered more than his NDA. He leaked classified documents to investigative journalists showing asterisk, Site 13's real purpose, human enhancement experiments, asterisk, lists of personnel who had disappeared, asterisk, medical records showing harmful effects of experimental drugs, asterisk, authorization documents showing high-level government approval. The documents went viral online. Media coverage was extensive. Congressional committees demanded hearings. Rebecca Carter, now 42 and working as a civilian aerospace consultant, was contacted by journalists. Major Carter, documents show you were detained at Site 13 for 1 year. Can you confirm? Rebecca had waited 10 years for this moment. Yes, I can confirm everything in those documents, and I can provide additional testimony. She testified before Congress in classified hearings. Her account corroborated Morrison's documents. Other former Site 13 personnel came forward. Their stories matched Rebecca's. The congressional investigation revealed: asterisk, Site 13 had operated for 15 years. Asterisk, over 200 military personnel had been detained there. Asterisk, at least 47 had suffered permanent harm from experiments. Asterisk, 12 had died. Asterisk, high-level Pentagon officials had authorized the program. Public outrage forced accountability. Site 13 was shut down. Several officials were prosecuted. Rebecca wrote a book, Prisoner of Science, My Year at Site 13. She became an advocate for military personnel rights and oversight of classified programs. Major Rebecca Carter's story is a reminder that even in democratic nations with strong institutions, secret programs can violate fundamental rights. Rebecca's courage in escaping and speaking out, combined with whistleblower Morrison's documentation, exposed a program that had operated in secrecy for years. Today, Rebecca continues advocating for transparency and accountability in classified military programs. Her testimony helped establish new oversight mechanisms for research involving military personnel. The full details of what happened at Site 13 may never be completely known. Many documents remain classified. Some participants have never been found. But Rebecca's story shows that even the most powerful systems can be challenged by individuals who refuse to stay silent. Site 13 is now permanently closed. The facility has been demolished. The desert location is restricted access. But other classified facilities exist. Other programs continue in secrecy. Rebecca's message: we must balance national security with human rights. Classification cannot be used to hide abuse. Her story reminds us that behind every classified program are real people whose rights and welfare must be protected. If you're interested in stories about classified military programs and the individuals who expose wrongdoing, don't forget to subscribe. Share your thoughts about Major Carter's story in the comments. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is tell the truth, even when powerful forces want silence.